and then go down to Scaly Mountain down there.
Okay. Well, I'm with you. Whatever way you want to take is fine by me.
And
I mean, I'm slow, but I can move all day. I just ain't fast.
I'm slow too.
I can move. I mean, my wind's pretty good as far as hiking goes.
Yeah. Well, this ain't nothing. I mean, it's steep, and you ain't gonna go fast. I don't care if you Jesse Owens, you ain't going fast up this hill. But I was just wondering where our best time would be spent, because I'm
gonna keep coming back now. So you take your time and show me whatever you want to show me. We can go to a different spot at a different time. Matter of fact, if you ain't busy, I might be able to do something on Thursday. But I ain't trying to push nothing though.
Well, I'll just have to wait and see if Daddy wants to go hunting.
Because I got another week of vacation in like the second week of December too.
Oh, okay.
So we can set something up then too. So
we'll have to watch then, because deer season's open.
Oh yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
Gun season.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think.
Yeah, me and Bob, we went out during turkey season. We just were squanching, but we both just wore our orange vests.
Yeah.
Because they were all around us.
Oh yeah. And you get in the woods, and you can tell somebody using a box call. They could be somebody on top of that mountain with a slate call, and another one over here with a box call, and I can tell you which one's a box call for a half a mile. And I don't know why, I just don't like them. And I was sitting there in the woods one day, and I heard whack, 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 and I thought, somebody needs to practice. Now that's just pitiful. It wasn't 5 minutes, here come a hen turkey walking up on me, whack, 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 and I thought, well, maybe I'm doing too good. I'm practicing too much. We'll come back in the road down there, and we'll go back up and hit this where them trees were snapped off up.
Gotcha. Okay.
I ain't been up that way in a year or two, so there may be.
That sounds good to me.
That place I ain't got no use of going, because you can't hunt it. I mean, you can grouse hunt it and squirrel hunt it a little bit, but it ain't much.
Now, will this be considered part of the Nantahala National Forest?
Yeah, Nantahala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nantahala.
Yeah, we got some weird names around here.
Oh, that's fine. That's an Indian name, ain't it? Nantahala.
Nantahala, yeah. And this mountain up here they call it, the politically correct name is Waya, W-A-Y-A-H. But we call it Warrior.
Warrior,
yeah,
okay.
We're on from the other side of the hill, so it's Warrior on our side, but people over here that have grown up around it, it's Waya.
Waya, okay.
Okay, no problem. Well, you go to Waya and I'll go to Warrior, and I'll see you on top. I ain't much on political correctness.
No, I ain't either.
But I think this would be a good place to put one of your sound things up. I mean, of course you're going to hear probably bear dogs. Well, not because a week from today, gun season open. So, and they shouldn't, I mean, you'll hear dogs over here. They shouldn't be here, because this is all over at the truck above the road ain't bear sanctuary, and everything below the road is bear sanctuary.
Gotcha. Okay.
But when they get on the bear or whatever, they can't read the sign and say, oops, I'm supposed to.
Now they're going to roll.
But my buddies told me, he said, I don't know what it is, and he didn't know nothing about this being where that we'd had so much stuff going on. And he said, I don't know what it is. He said, but up there where that ridge goes across over into our woods, said, my dogs will run to the top of that ridge. He said, they'll come back, and said, their tails will be between their legs, and said, you can't get them out of the road. And he said, one night they'd done that, and said his dog looked behind him, and they shined up through the woods. He said, you could see two big red eyes going around the side of the hill.
Dang.
But that's back over at the main road. And I told him, I said, you can believe me if you want to, but I tell you what it is. I said, they're running upon them Bigfoots that's over there, and they're scaring them to death, and they're coming back. He said, whatever it is, he said, they are afraid of it. And he said, my dog, said, I've got one dog that'll jump on a bear by itself. He said, it ain't afraid of nothing. He said, it come back with its tail between its legs. And I thought, there's something up there that I don't want to hold up. That's been knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason for it. I mean, there's not a four-wheeler been through here, or the other ones would, and it'd have scuff marks where it pushed it down. No.
Was that a grouse?
Yeah.
Cool.
We call them pheasants, but it's grouse. Depending on what side of the holler you from.
Well, that thing's got some velocity on it, don't it?
Yeah, they do that.
Nice.
We'll come back and go up this whole road.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
It's a cupcake.
Evidently.
Dang, let me get a picture of that. That's cool. That's cool.
I've never seen a mushroom like that before.
I think I missed it. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Dang, I don't think I have either, man.
My old
Like a cinnamon toast crunch mushroom.
Bigfoot's on the shroom. That's the reason they're hollering of a night.
It might be. That's cool.
Either deer or almost looks like hogs, huh?
Hmm.
Rubbed it up a little bit. And then here's another spot. It's hard to tell. It wasn't been over like that. It might have been dead, but it wasn't been over. Which, with it being dead, it could fall over.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to cut no more than what I have to make me a trail in.
Mm-hmm.
That way the deer don't take that much of attention. I hadn't even noticed that.
That's weird.
It is.
Let me get one more from this thing.
Look how this one stuck up under that one.
I see that.
It had to be plus. And we found a lot of stuff like that, except it would be a big limb, and the brushy part down at the bottom would be left on the ground, and it'd be run up through a big clump of laurel, to where that there's no way that it could have fell through them, because the laurels would have caught it.
Exactly.
And the big end, the heavy end, would have fell first, instead of being up in the
being shoved up in there.
I mean, it would. Over there, they would take and shove it just like up through that mess, and you know there's no way that it could fall in it. And stuff like that is what bumfuzzles me, because there's no explanation for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a nice strong root to it, so
you can
why would it come up?
If there'd be 4 or 5 of them, but just one here and then a few hundred yards or so, and the other one just absolutely pulled up. Bears will do that a lot, especially on the oak tree. Of course, that's sold, but they'll rip them out and eat the acorns off of them and throw them down.
Okay.
They'll actually do them up to about that big around. There could have been a coyote or bobcat one pooping and scratching. Well, I don't know though, because there's some more over there. I was going to ask on that Alabama Bigfoot thing. What I've heard everybody talk about the bionic bird. What does that sound like? Because I don't reckon, if I've ever heard it, I don't
think I've ever heard of bionic bird.
I ain't neither.
I can ask Jonathan if he's got an example of it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I probably heard it, but we ain't called it that name though. Yeah. He's calling it the bionic bird. I think what he might be insinuating that's a Sasquatch making a bird's call, and that it's a lot louder and a lot stronger. That's what I took it that he was insinuating, but I can hit him up and ask him though.
That's what I'm a thinking it is, but I don't know if I've ever heard one do that. Now I've heard them whistle. I mean, I've heard them whistle.
MK Davis has got a video where he claims that it's a Sasquatch imitating a rooster.
Oh.
I forget the name of the video, but if you go through MK stuff, he's got a couple where he claims the Sasquatch imitated a rooster, and that was an example of it. It sounded interesting.
Yeah.
It sounded like a deeper, call. It sounded like a 20-foot rooster going. But they can be loud though. I mean, we squashed beside this farm in Uwharrie, and these roosters were loud as crap. But they were roosters.
That knife been broke off. Just the top out of it.
Yeah, that's a nice healthy tree too.
Yeah, you can hear when up here in the mountains when the leaves are off and stuff like this. You can hear donkeys and cows and all that stuff back down there at the main road.
Okay. It's amazing how sound I travel. Well, we squashed at this one place in Uwharrie, and every time one of the guys over there, he did a Bigfoot yell, the donkeys went crazy. It's like they knew what it was. You know? And we're like, that donkey knows what a Bigfoot is.
I've been up one night. I'd been hog hunting up on the mountain, and I got back and I thought, well, I'm just going to holler, which I know I couldn't sound nothing like them, but just to see if anything reacts. I did that, and right down below me, there was probably 5 or 7 coyotes just went crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought, now how do you know what that is?
You know, a lot of skeptics will be like, oh, that was all coyotes to start with. I mean, it'll start with a yell, and then the coyotes react to it.
Yeah, they join in.
And if you really pay attention, like we were doing a lot of audio, and I can't tell everything. I don't know everything. But I can tell in some instances that yell is a ways away from, I can see it's coming from behind, and the coyotes are off to some side of it. You can kind of tell that.
That one that you got that we was talking about, you could hear the yell there at the start at the beginning without a doubt. You know what it is. Anybody that's been in the woods knows what that sound is.
Yeah.
And then the coyotes are over here.
Yeah, they're a ways away from it.
They're not even in the same, and if you get out in the woods, that's a long way from each other. From one point to the other.
Yeah. Why they react, I mean, that's speculation, but they definitely react to a Bigfoot yelling.
Well, the tracks they found back in the 70s up on a place called Standing Union. They got up there, back then, there was more people hunting North Carolina than they are Georgia. Now a lot of people that used to hunt here go to Georgia. But you'd have to get in the woods 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to find a spot. Well, they got to a spot and there was a good bit of snow on the ground, 2 or 3 inches. And when they went around that morning, nothing was anywhere. No tracks, nothing in the snow. So they got the nose and when they come back, here's a set of footprints, and Daddy's buddy's about 6'4", 6'6", about 350 pounds, size 13 shoe, and he puts his foot in it, and it just engulfs his shoe. I mean, it just rim all around it, and it's barefooted. And where they should have met it that morning, it went up and got behind a big oak tree like this. And Dad said you could see where it done this in the snow as they went through with their flashlights. And then when they got gone, they come back down in the road and went by their vehicle, across the road, up the mountain on the other side. And he said it either had a big wolf, a big dog, some kind of, there was a canine track with it. And don't know if it was following that track or if they was together or what it had to do with each other. But
that'd be crazy if they were running together, wouldn't it?
But he said that they was, I mean, just right, you know what I mean? Just like they was together. Either one was following the one or the other.
They were in single file.
Yeah. And that was in, it was gun season, so that was in December. And I don't know of an idiot that would be up where that place is in December and snow on the ground with
being barefooted and all that.
Yeah.
And you know, with that big of a foot, I mean, that's not a person.
No, and that was back in the 70s when you didn't hear that much about anything. But I know it took 2 or 3 years for the daddy to ever go back in there hunting again.
Dang.
He said they started after it. And said they went across the road where it started through a swampy, marshy place, and then going up the mountain. And said all of a sudden they just got that feeling, every hair on them standing up.
Yeah. And
he said, "You think we ought to be following this thing?" His buddy said, "I don't think we should." He said, "Let's get out of here." And they hightailed it.
No, there's been a couple of times where I've seen a little.
Come up, sit down, come up. And that deer kept wanting to come down this way. And he'd run back up in there. And he'd turn around and come back. And then he'd run up and he'd come back. And I thought, well, what's that crazy thing to do? So I just sat down and let it get still. And finally, I don't know which way it wound up going, but you could hear it. The wind wasn't coming at me. I mean, it not to where it'd go by me to the deer. It was blowing down the hill, and it would run right over in yonder and blow, like it would, like it do when they're scared. And it'd run back, and it'd go blow, and it'd run back. And I thought, well, what in the world's going on? And then later that day, up around the top of this clear cut up here, that's where I heard them two fussing. And they done that all the way around the top of that clear cut, going back across the ridge up there. And I've heard them do that on 2 different occasions.
Think they were arguing about the deer?
Yeah, I don't know if they was fussing because I'd messed their deer drive up, because you could tell that deer didn't want to go back that way. But it wouldn't come this way either, because it knowed I was here. So I don't know where it finally went. Because if you could prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that Bigfoot's are real, then there's going to be more groups protesting, logging, all of that, all the resources.
Hunting too.
Oh yeah. And those are billions and $trillion industries.
It'll be like save all the animals for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can't go in and log somewhere because they're so elusive. You don't know if they're there or not until you've done cut their habitat down. So you can't log. Well, it's like I was good friends with one of the game wardens who retired here in Macon County, and we was at one of their meetings, wildlife meetings, and when it was over, they asked if anybody had any questions or anything like that before they dismissed the meeting. This fellow, older fellow, he said, "Boss," he said, "Yeah," he said, "I want to know when you're going to do something about the mountain lion." And they said, "We don't have mountain lions in western North Carolina, in North Carolina." He said, "Yeah, we do." He said, "No, we don't." He said, "I've got 3 pictures of, I've got pictures of 3 different mountain lions. One's black and the other 2 are brown. On my trail cam, taken in, I think it was either, in McDowell County, somewhere around in there. And we got to talking to the game warden the other day, and we asked him, said, since they say that, because I've seen them myself when we were kids, we had a black one come in our backyard, and we sprayed it with a water hose, about like from here to that little old tree right there. Mm-hmm. It was down in the honeysuckle, mm-hmm. and all we seen was the head. So we thought, it's a big black cat. And we turned the water hose on and throwing rocks. Well, here comes out this full-grown panther. Dang. And it makes about a 10, 12-foot leap up into the road, takes a couple of steps and jumps about a 12-foot bank on up and goes on. And for 2 weeks, it hung around the cow pasture watching the cows. It would sit out there and watch them cows, I guess waiting to see if it was calving or whatever. And Daddy went to the wildlife and they said, well, take a picture of it and then we can do something about it. And Dad said, this thing's been in the backyard with my boys within feet of them. Mm-hmm. If it would have wanted one, it could have grabbed one. He said, I'll take a picture with my shotgun and then you can have it. And but I was talking to him and I said, well, since these things don't exist and mean you know they do, I guess we can kill them, can't we? Because ain't no season, they don't exist in North Carolina, so if we kill one, ain't nothing to be said. And they said, no, that it don't work like that. He said, they know they're here. Yeah. He said, but the thing is, if they admit they're here, then they've got to spend money on the research to find out how many are here. Exactly. And then they've got to find out where they're moving at, where there's the travel patterns, where they're centrally located, are they... He said, and you're talking millions of dollars for something that nobody hardly ever sees. He said, so they're here.
That's a good point.
And it's the same thing with the Bigfoot.
That applies to Sasquatch too. Yeah.
They've had stuff tested and it's coming back an unknown primate.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Well, how long are you going to keep putting all those unknown primates into a category until you look at all of those and say, you know, these have got the same traits. So here's a new class, a new
species,
that we don't know nothing about. But it's easier just to say there ain't nothing there. And that's what kills me for a pencil pusher to sit at his desk and say that they've discovered everything, that there ain't nothing new to discover. Well, get off your butt and get out there. They're discovering stuff all the time. You can't discover it behind a computer screen.
Nah.
I mean,
you
computer
can't.
And stuff has got their place, but when you're done, you can't do this with a computer.
Nope.
Maybe a computer and a drone, but that still ain't like having feet on the ground.
Yeah, everybody that says, well, where's the Bigfoot bones at? They're always behind the keyboard and the computer. I mean, if you end up getting out in the woods, you'll realize in a place like this, you're not going to cross many other people. There's not a lot of people out here.
No. And as far as bones go, you could kill a deer right here. And I'd say within 3 days, that whole thing's going to be gone. Bone, you won't find no traces of bone. And if it did take longer, I know for a fact, because I've killed a lot of squirrels doing it, squirrels will sit and chew bones and get the calcium out of them. So that's another place, even when it gets down to bones, squirrels, rats, chipmunks, all of that stuff is eating the bones up. So that's one reason you don't find the bones. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. If you've got common sense, it makes sense. Everything out here is used pretty much by something.
On that one show, they put a deer carcass beside a tree and put a time-lapse camera on, and it was gone within a short period of time.
Less than a week.
Yeah,
like
it was
3 or 4
gone.
or 5 days.
I mean, everything came and got its swat, like you're saying. All the small animals, the insects, the larger animals, they all got their piece of it.
And my question is, and I've been hunting, I turned 50 years old this year, and I started following my daddy hunting when I was probably 7, 8 years old. And I've never, ever, in all my years, found the animal that you can say died of natural causes. If you get to looking, there's going to be a bullet hole in it somewhere, or an arrow hole. or something like that.
That's what I've seen. All the bones I've seen from some big animal. It's usually a game animal, and it's been killed.
Yeah. I ain't never found a bear that's died of natural causes. It's one of the top predators we've got.
Yeah, I haven't.
And I've never found a hog that's died of natural causes. Now, whether something's killed it, yeah, I found a skull, but my brother was hunting on the other side of the ridge, and he shot some with his bow and couldn't find them. So who's to say that wasn't one of the ones that he shot? But if you use some common sense, it don't take you long to realize that something's out here. Oh yeah. And if you want to find out more about it, get out of the house and go look.
Yeah. A scientist is supposed to be open-minded, but these days all the books has been written, and it's like they're closed-minded. You know, they're just studying something that another scientist wrote in a book. Why don't you get out and write? Why don't you write your own book? Yeah, years ago. You know.
It just aggravates me to death that people can be so closed-minded and so sure that nothing exists, but yet they won't get out of their house and go looking for it.
Exactly.
That's the weirdest thing about the live camera I had come up missing. I had it locked to a tree with one of them cables that's got the flat bar that goes through, you put a padlock on. I had that part on the tree. I had a ratchet strap through it, down tight, and the end of it tied in a certain way. Well, I come in and I moved it from over here where it was watching just the feeder, because I found a trail developing about that wide. And I put it where Daddy would sit when he would hunt that feeder. And he sat there one evening and had two whistling back and forth. There was one here and the other one was down there closer to where you come in, about 50 yards, and a little draw in between them. And there was a good trail down that draw going down across the creek up the other side where we had heard them. And that's where I had my camera sitting and watching the feeder. And I told Newsom, I said, well, I'm going to move my camera. I said, something's wearing this trail out and it ain't getting on the camera, so I'm going to face it to where it'll catch it when it's moving up on the hill up there before it ever gets down here.
Exactly.
And it wasn't, well, I didn't even get to check the card in it, so it probably wasn't a week. My camera come up gone. We couldn't find it. The strap, the ratchet strap still tied around the tree. It ain't been untied. So I know nobody stole it. The cable clamp and lock is still there. So I know it's not been cut off. The only way they could have done it is to break the camera back where the straps go through. Like the little belt loops on it. Yeah. That's the only way they could have done it, was broke it there and pulled it out. Nothing on the ground, no sign of nothing anywhere.
You think if someone was going to steal it, they'd just steal the whole doggone thing.
They'd done the ratchet strap and took something and broke because that little old thin bar, I mean, you bend it back and forth 15, 20 times, it's going to break. Yeah. And that's all you'd had to done to have stole it. And
that's crazy.
When I found that one that had the paint strap on it, I walked up there and I got to looking, I thought, well, I had it on this tree right here, and I was looking up where it should have been, and I happened to look down, and there it laid on the ground, and it was laying down, face down like that, right against the tree, just like that. Tied against the tree, just like we didn't steal it. We just wanted you to know that we don't want a picture took. And the last picture it took was of the sky, and you can see a big bunch of fur. So it had to be a holding it.
Exactly.
If it would have been a bear would have reached behind it and pulled it this way, and it would have took a picture of the ground when it moved. Exactly. Well, the picture it took was this way, of getting the tops of the trees and fur. And then when I get in there to get it, the camera part, the face part of it, was turned upside down, facing the ground where it couldn't take no more pictures.
That's weird.
It is. I mean, that's when I'm like, All right, you win.
They know to recognize what that lens, that camera lens is. Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand. How do they get that smart to know? It's almost like they know what it's doing, that it's taking their pictures.
They know. They may not know that it's exactly what a picture is, but they know that it's recording something.
Because that one where it took the coon out of the trap, and you could see its leg, if it would have got over that much more, it'd have been another blank picture. And I'm like, come on, guys. You're supposed to be an animal. You ain't supposed to be this smart. I'm supposed to be a human and smarter. I mean, I've outsmarted deer, I've outsmarted bears, I've outsmarted everything in the woods till I run into you, and you're making me look pitiful.
City USA up here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall, and I can reach right at 8 foot. So that's up there between 7.5 and 8 foot tall. Here's another one behind me.
That's definitely just been twisted and snapped. There ain't no doubt about it.
Been done when it was green. And there ain't no limb laying here that would have snapped that one off right there. Oh, look at this one. I just now noticed this. This one come up from right there. Right there's the side of it.
Cool.
That had to be broke coming down. And I can't reach that one.
Dang, yeah, that's up there 8 feet high.
Oh yeah, that's every bit of 8 feet high. And there ain't no big limbs or nothing that's fell and broke it.
Nope.
And right here's another one on this side. That's higher than the other one.
Yep, I see that.
Good grief. Something peeled the bark off the big tree. There's an old claw mark. But looks like it. Look right there.
Dang, well, it did take a bite out of it.
That's what it looks like, don't it? I wonder if he had a splinter and that had been on that. His wife told him, said, you bite on this tree. But it does look like it's been bit. Don't it?
I agree. It looks like it's been bit right there.
Right there?
That definitely looks like it's been bit.
Look where they've pulled this limb off. The limb's just pulled off.
I wonder if does anything eat that sap?
I know that bears will, but a bear will do it with its claws. It'll just rake the tree. Now I've heard in late winter when they get ready to den up, which around here they don't den that long, they'll hibernate for 3 or 4 days till a cold front passes or whatever. But I've heard that they'll go to a tree and scratch it and get the sap out of it because it slows their bowel movement down.
Okay.
Stops them up. But that ain't what happened there. That limb's been pulled off. When it was green. Because you can see where it ripped the bark down. I mean, you can pull. No, you can't. And they're just going to snap off.
Yeah, it'd be hard to pull that out and rip the bark out.
With it, yeah. I wonder if it had anything. Well, them two right there have been broke. I wonder if it had anything to do with that.
Probably did.
Is that hair or wood fibers or pine needle?
Pine needle.
Yeah, that right there just looked a little weird.
It does look like hair though.
This one right here is acting like hair. That don't look like a pine needle. I mean, here's the pines that's...
If it is, it's a degraded one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it could be an old one.
It's kind of breaking up, kind of like a...
This right here, you can see the marks on this side too, right?
Oh yeah, let me get that. It's like it's all the way around.
But you can tell by the bark on the tree it was done when it was green.
Cool.
That's the first time I've ever seen anything pull a limb off like that. You can understand. I'm as open-minded as anybody, and you could understand if they was something laying here that had broke it off, and when it was green and it was laying here, but there's nothing on the ground.
Almost looks like, you know, something had broken it off, stuck some fingers down there, and pulled the bark out. Yeah.
And I wonder if they use that. I wonder if they could use that for like stopping bleeding, or
they might be able to.
Sore, you know what I mean?
There's probably a lot of stuff you could use a little bit of sap for.
You know, the old apple oil, it ain't nothing but pine rosin diluted down.
You're right. There's probably a whole lot of stuff they could use that for.
Yeah. Maybe Sasquatches, they found out that Bengal tigers, I think it was Bengal tigers, was emitted when they're getting ready to catch a prey. They emit a subsonic sound.
Infrasound.
Yeah. And it stuns their prey. That's the reason they have such a good catch rate.
Animals that use bioluminescence, like a squid, a lot of them are marine life, but they can change colors and all that. A chameleon can change colors and so forth. So when you talk about cloaking, I don't believe in like the Terminator type cloaking. But you know, they got a natural ghillie suit which helps cloak them. I mean, I'm open to the possibilities that they could change.
Here's one that I had the picture of. Ain't no way somebody snapped that off. It's too big.
No, I agree. That's way too big. Well, it's interesting what you're saying too about the colored, the one having the colored nose. I mean, I wonder if he can make his nose change a color, or.
Well, that fellow was saying that was talking to him that monkeys and primates, when they get the matter, they get their nostrils, capillaries in their nose expand, getting blood to it, and it changes colors. You know, turns right. Well,
he was pissed off. He was pissed off, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Be like that and try to protect its territory if it don't have a lot of places to go. Out here, if me and you came up on one, it could just run up the ridge and get away from us, you know.
Them ain't small trees.
No, they ain't small at all. They ain't small at all. You're right about that.
And of course, that's been probably 4 or 5 years ago that I found them. They was pretty fresh then.
Oh yeah, you just can't grab this thing in.
Even with it dead. And I tried. I could break it off at the ground, but you ain't gonna snap it off.
No. Well, they might have, you know, they might cross so many little trails like this that they just mark it where they know.
Yeah, like
they'll know what mountain they at, what area they at by snapping it off on the trail.
And see that trail going right down through here? Comes right here. Right down through there.
I see that. Yeah. That looks like a regular walking type trail, don't it?
Something's been on it. That one fella was in his tree stand and it reached up and grabbed the bottom foot part of his tree stand. It's 12 feet off the ground.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt they could reach up 12 feet.
You figure 8 foot tall.
If you're 8 foot tall,
and your arms are 20% longer than your legs,
you could probably reach up to 17, 18 feet, probably.
Yeah, you're getting on up
with
there.
Your big hand, your long fingers, you can probably reach out.
Yeah.
Man, one might be that's 8, 9 feet tall, might be able to reach close to 20 feet.
Yeah. All I know is they've got my respect.
Oh yeah, I mean,
sneaky they are.
Yeah.
They hidden that good.
No, we've got a lot of respect for them.
That mare's been snapped off in his green. Of course, that could be somebody, because that's about, right there's a pile of poop.
Dang, you saw that pretty quick.
And I don't know what it is.
Almost looks like dog poop, but I see it looks like it's got some
acorns in it.
Yeah.
Acorn hull. Might be hog poop, because they'll poop in a like that.
Have you ever seen any flying stick insects out here?
Not that I know of.
I got one on the trail cam. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm trying to pull it up and post it on your page, but it's actually a flying stick I got on the trail camera.
Oh. There's a little old, and I don't know what the larva turns into, but there's a little old bug. It'll make a cocoon out of this small gravel and rocks and stuff, and it'll stick itself to the bottom of these rocks until it hatches. And there's a little larva in it. I mean, I don't know how much protein and stuff they have it, but if you was hungry.
Oh man, yeah, it'd probably have all kinds of protein.
But there's lizards in here.
You know, a lot of good sightings that people's had has been when they've been busy in a creek, going through the rocks and everything, and sometimes they get too busy to notice somebody walked up on them occasionally.
And you know, there must be a little Cajun, they like them crawfish.
Oh yeah. Squatch spotting a trail cam out in the woods is just like you driving down your street and noticing that your neighbor just got a brand new car. You know?
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, he's gonna pick it up quick.
But only one I've ever heard whistle was, and every one I've ever heard, which I'm not saying that's the only sound they do, because I don't know. But I know the only sound I've ever heard them do is deep.
You know, I've heard that before. I ain't thought twice about it.
Because it sounds like it could be a bird just going.
Right.
But it's deep now. More like that, more.
I've kind of heard a lot like a whoop, like a do a whoop.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. And I've heard that little whistling you're making. I'll draw that to a bird. I need to think twice about that then.
Well, me and Newsom learned that they could do that because they come in and caught. He had a feeder in his front yard, and there was a hogger coming in. He said, "Oh, it ain't big, maybe 150 pounds at the biggest." He said, "I don't think it'll hit 200." And he said, "We'll get up in the attic and kill it." And I said, "Well, we'll use my crossbow. That way it won't make a lot of noise, you know. And you just don't have to worry about all of that." And so we got up there that first night and sat down. And 3 coons come out, got around the feed and started eating. Well, all of a sudden they run back into the laurel thicket, and all of a sudden I don't know if you've ever heard a coon fight a dog, but they make it sound a lot like that.
Dang.
And but that went on for about 5 or 10 seconds. You could tell that coon was getting hurt. And all of a sudden you just heard a big whoa. Everything went deathly quiet. And we're setting up in the loft with no light on, nothing like that. And we hear, I told Nick, what in the world? I said, I don't know if coon's been able to whistle. He said, no, coon can't whistle. I said, well, if they could, that was something I was learning because I'd never heard them. And it done that for probably 10 or 15 minutes. And when we decided that the hog wasn't coming in, it got so dark we couldn't see without turning the light on. We turned the light on in the house, and when we turned the upstairs light on, as soon as we turned it on, the whistling stopped. And there'd been a time or two that we've been in the woods, and over there, for some reason, I'd get it on my mind and I'd do it, and he's taking a feeder down, and there ain't no acorn falling, nothing like that, and he's working it. I'm holding the ladder, and I keep going like that. Next thing, I hear something hit behind me. I said, did you drop something? He said, no, I ain't dropped nothing. I said, did you hear what I hear? He said, that whatever that was hit behind you right there? And I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I heard that. And I said, that's bad. We're here taking a feeder down, and we're in a pretty open place where you should be able to see them, and you can't see it. And it's throwing at her.
Yeah.
He just laughed and said, well, you know. By that time, we had, what else can you do, will you? I said, well, I'll quit whistling. You go ahead and take the feeder down. And we took the feeder down, and I think it pissed them off, because when we went back in there, they'd broken maple off, a green maple that big around, about that high, just snapped it off and laid it over where the feeder was.
Like, they didn't like it being gone. Yeah.
Because it was getting the corn, all the animals that was coming into the feeder.
Oh, yeah. I think I may have gotten a picture of one around the feeder at the farm. It's real pixelated, though, but
yeah.
I think they hang around deer feeders.
I think they do. Well, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, actually, that one caught that coon and killed it, and they took that coon out of our trap. I mean, there ain't no telling how many coons they got out of the trap before we realized what was going on, because we thought our trap wasn't working. Bait was there, door was down, waited, no coon in it. And I thought, Dad, damn it. I told him, I said, I don't know how they're getting out, but I'm going to put my trail cam on it and we'll figure it out. So I brought one out of the woods and put on it. And that's when we got the picture of that one blocking the camera out while they hadn't got the coon out of it.
Dang, I thought that was cool as I don't know what.
I was looking, is that anything over there?
It's like a flower pot right there, don't it? It got some green growing out of it. That looks interesting. And, it could be something.
Right past it, right there, dude.
Oh yeah, I see a little teepee.
Yeah. That right there is more than likely when this thing fell. Well, it is neat that it's growing like that.
Exactly. A little flower pot. Nature's flower pot.
Sasquatch needs flowers too.
Oh yeah, he does, don't he?
I didn't know about this, the way
that looks interesting.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture with my phone on that one.
Like I say, I don't know if it's anything or not, but it's sort of hard for some of this stuff to happen naturally.
Oh, I agree 100% on that.
I mean, how could this limb here get shoved up in under that one? Especially when it's got this hooking part on it right here. That's got to go up in there first.
That is wicked.
I've been finding, and I don't know if it's something they're doing or if I'm just finding where just one of them things, but I'm noticed lately when I'm walking around the road or something, I see something, a stick is standing up, it don't look right. I'm starting to notice they're just stuck down in the ground.
Yeah, oh, I see a lot of stuff that's dead, that something shoved it down in the ground.
And I'm like,
it's like a little marker.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, now if that thing fell, how can it get down in the ground an inch and a half, 2 inches, 3 inches?
And I see a lot of that.
Well, I may be reading too much into it. That's the thing about doing it by yourself. You're like, well...
It's always good to have somebody to bounce it off of.
Yeah.
You know, see what they think.
An objective opinion. I'll get it out in a minute. I made A's in school, but English wasn't my best subject. I was real good at PE and lunch.
Well, I can understand everything you're saying. One more.
I'm going to take a picture of that right there, just because I think that's neat.
That is cool.
I wonder, I might can climb up there. I wonder if that moss has been laid up there, or if it's
growing out of there.
If it's growing.
What is it? Is that moss or is it ferns?
It's fern.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, they like ferns for some reason. They hang around ferny areas. They do like
because
fern.
They can walk. Because the ferns makes them mat, and they're not crunchy like leaves and stuff for them.
I would agree with that. I mean, Bob was wondering if there wasn't some kind of property to a fern that maybe they make something out of. I don't know.
And that could be too. I wonder if I can get up there. Because it almost looks like it's been laid up there and it's laying off this.
It does, don't it? It is interesting.
Look right here, Dwight. It looks like that's been laid up there. But right here's a whole blanket of it.
Yeah, you can almost see the roots in the soil.
And I don't know if I can reach it or not. But that don't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting.
How did it get? Okay, yeah, you could get some stuff up there, but how did the dirt get up there for the fern to grow in?
Man.
How did the fern seeds get up there for the ferns to grow in?
Yeah. Yeah, there ain't no big 30-foot tall fern tree that's just throwing down seeds.
No. That is pretty neat. Whether it's natural or they've done it or whatever, it's still neat.
It's neat.
It'd be like you ever see that movie Police Academy?
Oh yeah.
Where old Mean Joe Green was wanting to do the florist. He wanted to be a florist.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Sasquatch has found his calling.
Oh yeah, he probably has.
I ain't gonna argue.
Well, he's the keeper of the forest, though. I mean, you know.
That is weird how that would grow like that, though, because ferns won't grow like this moss does. That moss would grow through here anywhere.
You're right.
But you can see, even like this, ferns here, they have to have dirt like that.
Yeah. That's weird. The dirt's hanging down off the...
Yeah. Hey, Lord. It's like the Tootsie Roll pop.
And see how dry it is. I mean, it ain't like the ferns just growing up the doggone sides.
No,
the sides are bare. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could understand it if they was, especially down here near the ground, if you had ferns or moss or something down there. But for it to be right there in that one spot, like the Tootsie Roll Pop, the world may never know.
Oh,